Get comfy. If we haven't met before, my name is Leah. My company is called Emphasis, and we invest in early-stage Web3 companies with a focus on gaming. I also sit on the board of the Blockchain Game Alliance and write an opinion column for CoinDesk. That'll be all about me. I did bring up CoinDesk, though, because it's kind of the reason I'm here tonight. I met David Minash of Olas in Toronto, a consensus, a few months ago, moderated a panel with him. And the joke at that time was, I was kind of asking, how do we even pronounce DeFi? Like, so we're kind of laughing. Yeah, you got it?
DeFi,
DeFi. Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to this panel because now we're going to talk about what's the latest. I hope that we've progressed since then. Jokes. But guys, do you want to do like a super quick introduction? We don't want to waste too much time because we've got 25 minutes and we've got 5 speakers. So just give just your name and like a 1-sentence pitch of what you guys are doing, just so that everyone's like fully on board with who you are and what you're going to be talking about tonight.
TM Lee, co-founder at Coingecko. We are a crypto data aggregator. You want to know anything about prices and what the coins are about, check out our website. That's all.
That was perfect. Take note, guys.
Thanks so much. I'm Ed. I'm co-founder of Bond.Credit and CTO. We're building the credit layer for agentic economy, credit scoring, and aggregation AI agent.
Hey, Danny, back, co-founder of Recall, and we're building skill markets to bring more trust to AI agents.
Hey, I'm Iason Rovis, product manager at Valory, core contributor of Olas, and our vision, if you haven't checked it already, it's about co-owning AI.
Hey everyone, I'm Harshit. I lead corp dev at Transak, and Transak is building the boring infra that hopefully someday will power the AI agents.
That was amazing. I have never moderated a panel where people have been that efficient in terms of introducing themselves. Can we get a round of applause right now? Beautiful, guys. All right, let's get stuck into it. So I am more on the crypto side of things, so I apologize if I'm coming like from an outsider's perspective, but I'd really like to get a lay of the land tonight in terms of the conversation around like the latest and how people are perceiving this space. So my first question is, I want to know, are AI agents in DeFi, is this still very much narrative driven, or are we actually starting to see real products that could actually be sustainable over the long term? And by the way, I am hoping to see some debate tonight. I don't want it to go down into fistfights or anything like that, but I am hoping it will get somewhat spicy. So feel free to disagree with each other.
Maybe I can go first.
Go first.
I think we're mostly on the narrative, but we started in the last few months to see more AI agents. Personally, with Bond.Credit, we work with Giza and Fungi. So Giza did, like, as the guys talk in the last panel, they do 2 billion in volume. They do 3% on base. This is not nothing. Those are numbers. This is the data. We started building this project 4 months ago, not based off of a hype. It's based off the data that we have. And that's why we decided to actually work with them. And they also see the vision. The only thing that is missing is the proof of value for those AI agents. And that's why we're building the credit score for those AI agents. So we have like the tracking. So people, when they come and they saw those AI agents, we're giving them like all the metrics they need. And that's gonna also help them unlock a lot of capital in the future. I'm not gonna get into so much details because I wanna know what the guys actually have in mind as well, so.
Who would like to add to that?
Yeah, I think on our end, we are a data provider. So in terms of narrative, I think when it comes to like trading activity or market action, crypto people always trade in terms of narrative. So I think when it comes to narrative for trading, I think definitely that's here to stay. Like it's going to be up and down. But in terms of products, we ourselves, we are data providers, and we are always happy to provide market data to AI agents to either provide content or do trading strategies and implement stuff. And I think we've been seeing like an uptick of that. Like that has been a day-to-day thing. We just launched an MCP a couple of months ago that has been used by a lot of customers as well. So I think there is a product out there that people are using and building, and I think only for a foreseeable future for that to go mainstream eventually. Currently, it's still really, really early days. A lot of experiments that no one's willing to put at stake a huge amount of money, but that's where we all start. Still early days, yeah.
Yeah, my point of view is that we are doing baby steps out, moving forward the narrative phase. So as we saw in the beginning of the event, We saw the example of the Modus agent of the Olas ecosystem and the Pearl product, and we saw that some of the agents made some really exciting data points of really high ROI, APR. So it is exciting, and we're getting out there, and it's getting real. Of course, it's not a financial advice to put all your fortune there, but things are getting real, and we're passing through the narrative phase.
Yeah, I agree. Things are definitely real, and we see more and more volumes. We see more agents with strong performance. I think it's still an open question of where agents outperform other types of trading algorithms, and we see, we think of agents as these monolithic things sometimes, even though we talk about swarms of agents. In our competitions, the top performing agents are actually architectures of multiple agents, one who's doing research, another who's orchestrating, another who's actually executing on chain. And so where are LLMs actually providing value in this architecture? And is everything going to be LLM powered, or are LLMs going to surface the best insights and information, but the actual trading algorithms may be more deterministic? To me, that's still an open question.
I know, Leah, you asked that we should be disagreeing and having a debate, but I think so that it's pretty much evident that we are still in the early stages. As someone on the last panel said, that a year back no one would have known what an agent is, or at least everyone knows about it. Still, a lot of people don't know what are the real world utilities about it. From a payments perspective, what we see at Transak is, we want to empower AI agents, but it's just that not us. You need to have the right security, you need to have the right governance, you need to have the right compliance, you need to plug in all those elements also into it so that it becomes real world utility. And everyone's building in different corners, but the data and all those things also need to come and train those things to make it more evident for the world to start using it. So we are getting there, but it's pretty much early stage right now at this very moment.
All right, so I'm hearing that we've got some good traction, but there's still a long way to go. In your opinion, where do you think builders should be focusing their time at the moment? Should we be focusing on, say, user-facing AI agents, or is it more the boring infrastructure that just kind of allows them to actually work? I guess that's a bit of a chicken and egg type thing, but if it were you right now, what would you be focusing on?
User-facing or customer-facing. I think that crypto has historically made the mistake of focusing on infrastructure for so long that we lose touch with what's actually going to drive value.
So true.
Yeah, and so, it's tough when not all the infrastructure exists. The way to build the right infrastructure is to be close to customers. And so I always favor the approach of get as narrow as possible, as deep as possible, and make sure that you're touching where the end value of the customer is.
I can disagree.
Yes,
I can disagree. This is what you wanted, right? I think the infra is non-negotiable for us. If you don't have the infra, if you want to go close to the user, you're going to have the infra. The user experience comes after. Once you have this strong fundamental, you can play and polish it and do whatever you want. Make it an AI agent, make it an app. But if you don't have the infra, then you cannot succeed. And that's why this is something that we're doing at Bond.Credit. We're building the reputation for agent, and this is not something we're doing in the corner. We're doing it with a community of ARC 8004. We're one of the core contributors for that reputation, and we're going to be the official scorer for that, because we see the gap in that infrastructure. Once it's there, I think it's going to be more easy for anyone to come and build. You're going to have tools. We're building SDKs. It's going to be more developer-friendly. So I had to disagree with you. I think infra is something that should be focused first, and then it's going to be easier. And I know it's hard for businesses to think about that because we want to make money. We don't want to think about infrastructure. I just want users. So I'm going to make it easier for him, give him a better user experience so I can bring him. But I think we should still work as a community. And maybe some of the projects are too big, but I think we're small enough to work on those infrastructures and actually contribute in that space.
We've heard an argument for consumer, an argument for infra. Just a heads up, at the end of this panel run through, I'm going to ask the audience to put their hands up whether you think it should be consumer first or infra first. So just be ready for that. Which side of the debate do you sit on, TM?
It may not be binary though. So for example, we have sufficient infrastructure.
Wait. Are you allowed to sit on the fence in this?
Well, I'll start with this. I'll start with this first, right? 'Cause I'm an infrastructure provider, right?
Yeah.
And I'm also providing data for front-end user. So that's why I have this perspective. So there is sufficient infrastructure for AI agents that are user-facing to be done, right? But whether they are good enough to go mainstream, like there is a chance that it doesn't fulfill certain use case, or there's a probabilistic error, or there might be not enough data points for you to get to the end of the mile. So there is room for people who build user-facing features to start building their own infrastructure to solve their own problem. At the same time, it solves other people's problem as well. I think that's kind of like how we started in Coingecko side. I mean, we're not an AI company per se, but we've always been building data for users to consume, and eventually we started an API, which is for developers to consume, and later on now even for LMs or AI developers to consume as well. So we build our own infrastructure at the end to sort of empower the industry. So I think that's my perspective, where even a front-facing, you have a front-facing user interface to learn and see what mistakes and what works and doesn't work. At the same time, you improve what's in your backend, which would then improve your user-facing feature and improve other applications as well. So don't really have an answer because on our end, we go through both spectrum. Yeah.
It's true. It's never really fully black and white, is it? But if you had to, which side of the fence would you sit on?
Yeah. Like I've been in and around crypto for the last 10 years, and just being at Transak and like trying to convince all the governments like why they should allow us to enter their country, allow us to do the payments. The very first question they always ask us, okay, like what's the use case of crypto, right? And we have been going with so many cycles across the last few years, and finally we have like a use case that everyone is able to understand, that is stable coins. And I remember this thing when like the first time ChatGPT came out, everyone started to understand what AI is. And what people said that crypto is like a back-end technology and AI is a front-end technology, and that's why it's every time easier to explain. But for ChatGPT to reach that level, they had to build a very boring infra for the last many years, right? So you can always like have some houses built like in a west, like far west or somewhere, but you need to build like the proper infra to build the full society. So I think so, yes, we can have some good applications, and I think so ChatGPT and many other applications that are being built, they have done the good work, but without the infrastructure, you cannot have like the full-blown ecosystem to grow. So infra is important, while you will still see some successes here and there.
And I would say both. I mean, no, I'm gonna conclude in the end. Yeah. So on the infra side, we do have things that we know what to do. So we need to bring standardization, interoperability, to build systems that work more together, and agents and tools can work across chains. So we should not forget that. But I also agree with Danny's point that we need to explore use cases. So if I had to choose, I would go with user-facing.
Audience, what's your interest right now? Can I see a show of hands for infra? Okay. And a show of hands for consumer-facing. Well, I think that's pretty balanced. Okay. How much time have we got? Have we still got a little bit more time? Okay, one more question maybe? Okay, all right. So this is kind of following on from the conversation that I had with David in Toronto at Consensus, but I'm interested to know the state of AI agents in DeFi right now in terms of how much we can really trust them with, and how you see this going forward in the future. Like, should we actually be trusting AI agents with our capital autonomously? Or do you think there's always going to need to be a human in the loop in terms of providing those guardrails? Who wants to tackle that?
I can give a very simple answer to that. I think so. Like the trust at the end of the day is very important for any ecosystem. So we can, yes, like it's easy to just tell the AI to do something and probably like put the best engineers and make sure that it has all the data and everything and it performs well. But that one very mistake would take away all the trust that you are trying to build for the AI for the long run. And that would just put the technology many years back. So it's important that we have a balanced approach to it. While AI can make sure that the repeated tasks and the boring things are still done, but for the decision making, for the narrative point of view, human checks is very much important. So that's where I stand with that very point.
Yeah, I mean, like any technology, it's always a chasm where there's an early adopter, late adopter, and so on and so forth. We are still definitely in the early adopter stage. There are some DeFi AI agents that are already out there in the market, and the early adopters are trying it out with small amount of capital they're willing to lose. But definitely not ready for mainstream adoption, because even if you were to use ChatGPT or Gemini, the most powerful AI model out there, there's always going to be like a 1% chance of it not doing what it's supposed to do, because the AI models are probabilistic. They're not super intelligent just yet, but directionally, that's where we are headed, right? Super intelligence, AGI. I think we will probably see a future where we are willing to delegate away our capital, and there will be infrastructure and whatnot to act as guardrail. But at this current state, it's more like a toy for early adopters, and most technologies start as toys. Crypto in the early days, they're just toys for nerds, right? To play around with internet money, but things change over time. So yeah, that's the thing. Yeah.
I think that's probably a good way to think about it at this point in time, at least. Yeah. Would anyone else like to add to that?
Yeah, I mostly just agree. I think we're not going to hit a threshold at which point everyone switches over to this. Even pre LLM based agents trading, when we had kind of the dawn of quantitative models and high frequency trading, we had the flash crash. Like, we had these systems that we didn't fully understand, even though they were deterministic. And we started to see some people start to use them because there was profit to be made. They still weren't fully trustworthy, but as they got more and more so, more and more money went into it, to the point where the whole system was built around high frequency trading. And so we're going to have this progression. There's probably going to be some scary moments in that. I think we just have to accept that and start to really pressure test these challenges of robustness and build as many tools as we can to help users who aren't professional traders understand what they're getting themselves into.
The way I see it is that people are always gonna want to be in control. So gradually, human agents are gonna be more and more into the process, but something's gonna be there for the human to take care, and we will want to take care of these things because we want to be in control, and that's how we have for example, in Perl, we have the co-pilot mode and autonomous mode. We're going to talk about it more later tonight. So yeah, since we want to be in control, somehow we're going to be there even at the minimum.
Oh, yeah, those are some great answers. I think this question summarizes a little bit what we're building as well when it comes to scoring those agents and reputation of them. I think you should not give agent access without accountability, and that's where we're actually building this risk score. Like, capital should go to those agents based on their proven track and what they do, and that's something that I think we're doing a very good job, to analyze those agents and see where the money is allocated, audit everything. We have even sentiments. We have more than 50 metric to track on behalf of the user. So it's more risk adjusted. We can actually give them if that risk is adjusted. If you just want to throw your money out of that agent without doing this, it's a little bit risky. So I would end with this.
Right, very interesting. I think we have been granted one last question, but we'll have to make it quick. So please recall the efficiency with which you answered my first question about your introduction to yourselves. This is a little bit of a spicy one, though. AI agents and their projects, do they actually need tokens, or is that just distracting from the use case? Go. TM, you're first. Yes or no? You can't sit on the fence. You're not allowed.
Well, I mean, on Coingecko, we see millions and millions of tokens. And I think we see, at least personally, I see a future where there will be anything that can be tokenized will be tokenized, and there's just going to be more and more tokens in the place. If you're an AI agent or you're any crypto company, yes, I think everyone always think about, should you do a token? But the question you always ask yourself is, does it make sense or not? I think there are some projects in the room here that has some tokenomics, has some incentive system, then yes, go ahead and do the token. But if your token is just something for attention and something that you just latch on for memes, and it's going to be a little bit of a danger zone over there, especially if there's nothing backing it. So yes, if you have a tokenomics that makes sense behind the hood. No, if it's just a token that you just put out there with no plans at all.
Do you have any tips for how to figure out whether the tokenomics are good or not, or whether it makes sense to do a token?
There needs to be a demand supply, and there will be a circular going around, but not something that just go one direction. Yeah.
Fundamentals.
Yes.
Okay. Yep.
Amazing. Yeah, I think I can't agree more with that. I think we gotta come up with a token, but that's only because it aligned with the incentives, because we're making a relationship, the users and the agent, and both of them are client, I might say. So we gotta give incentive for both of them to work hard. So it does make sense. I'm giving us as an example, but it's general as well. If you don't have any alignment, any incentive, don't do a token. In our case, we do. We want to bring all those elements together. Also, we have I didn't talk about the whole project, but we have an EVS where we actually can insurance. And that's why I talk about risk adjusted. We actually give in risk adjusted, not just by credit score, by ensuring those agents that they're going to do what they're going to do. We make sure that they are verifiable and they make the right thing that they do. So I think a token makes sense, but it should be, as Tim said, very well thought before you take it. Otherwise, it could literally kill your project. But yeah.
Most don't. Tokens at their core are economic coordination mechanisms. Most agents don't need to coordinate a group of people economically. If they do to attract capital, to divide ownership, or to get a bunch of humans or other agents to play different roles in a system, then that's a good argument to have a native token. But most agents just need to work with tokens, not have their own.
Not sure if they need tokens, but they definitely need wallets, addresses, to have like a wallet to transact and be autonomous. So yeah.
For this, I can tell a story of Hyperliquid. I mean, because it's a token which is sort of less to do with AI in general, but more to do with DeFi. So I met with the founder in Korea just a few days back, and I asked him now, Aster is coming up, it's totally hyping up and everything. He's like, yeah, that doesn't affect us. We are very much focused into what we want to build. We want to do that, and token is going to go up and down, but that shouldn't impact us. So I think discipline as well, the timing, everything's very important, but having the right focus and the discipline and making sure that the token up and down should not affect you and your team is also very important.
Thank you so much, guys. Unfortunately, that's all we have time for, but I just want to thank our amazing panelists for their incredible insights, their ability to arrive here on time for the panel despite this rain tonight. And I'm sure they'll be hanging around. So if you have more questions about their projects, don't hesitate to go up to them when we're having our networking time later. Thanks, guys.